Welcome to the CRAZYDRE Podcast Show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Here we go. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about something a little different. I'm going to talk about why I started this podcast, the CRAZYDRE Podcast Show. I had to put sports, politics, and life. And I don't really focus on life, my own life, and everything else with it. But today I'm going to talk about it. And this is why I started this podcast, because I wanted to be able to embrace my disability and other people's disability. Coming to find out, no one likes to talk about their disability, or it's very difficult to talk to people about their disability and be open-minded to talk about it. So where does this leave me at? So when I talk about here's what I'm going to say. I really hate being disabled. There's nothing else in the world I hate the most. I don't like my job. I don't like the people I work with. I can't stand the people I work with. And this isn't just like everyone else who says, "Oh, my boss sucks," and everything else with it. But you get to leave your job. You can get yourself educated. Not only do I have a physical disability, I have a learning disability. Come to find out, I'm neurodivergent, which means that I have a personality trait that is a little different. I receive information differently. I give out information a little different. I react to different situations. My social uh, encounters are different. Uh, Everything is different. I may have dyslexic. I may be learning disability. I can have anything that's possible with neurodivergent. That's what neurodivergent is. But in reality, it's more that I am a physically disabled person because I was abandoned and I was uh, malnutrition as a child. I was left in the closet in a box by my mom's friend who was an alcoholic, which I just figured that out that my my mom's friend was an alcoholic and she put me in a box and put me in the closet. I knew that I was abandoned. I knew that I was in the box, but I did not realize that she left me in the box for 2 years, and then one day she just booked up and left, and then I was in the closet by myself, and then the people found me, put me in, care of other people. So that was the first beginning of my part, and that's something I don't really talk about, and this is an aspect of people that, people like, "Oh, that's a bummer, it's too bad that happened to you." However, I was adopted. Uh, People that think that my life should be grand and I should be happy to be disabled, or I should be happy I'm adopted with two good parents or parents who were able to financially support me when I was younger. Obviously, as your kids, but this doesn't mean that I am happy. And people are like, what do you mean you're not happy? You work a full time job. You live on your own. You're not living in a group home. You don't live in adult foster care. And by the way, my parents were going to put me in adult foster care because they didn't think I could move out on my own. And I really didn't understand how I could make a living working at a linen rental place for $6.35 in 1996 and not go to college, not learn any trade, or not learn any schooling or extra education. And I was kind of right, but I made things work. And but what it came down to is that I was resentful. Everything was I was always angry inside. I was bitter. I'm still kind of bitter. I have a very difficult time keeping jobs because my bitterness of attitude comes out in a way that it shows that I don't like my situation. I work in a grocery store right now, and basically they threw me in the bottle return room because I'm good at being responsible. But what I hate doing is taking care of people's sloppy, wet bottles, wet cans, dirty, everything's dirty. I'm not getting a pay raise for this. And you know what's weird? It's weird that I know that I'm a lot smarter than I look, but there's no way to prove it. I would have to, And the thing about being with a learning disability, you have to work your way around it, or you have to go to college or trade school, educate yourself. That doesn't really work for me because I don't uh, retain information fast enough, quick enough, or long enough to take tests and to graduate in college or anything like that, which I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. Now, I want people to understand that when I talk about this, this isn't a pity fool for me party. I'm just keeping it real. I think that a lot of people tell me I should go to church, I should love Jesus. Why would I love Jesus more or less? Like, as far as I'm concerned, if you think God created everyone to be in his own image, that's a joke. I do not like that as a joke. I do not enjoy not being able to do the things I want to do or try, or never being able to try. Like I did an episode on Ozzy Osbourne's last show. You know what's sad? It's sad that I can never ever play the guitar. And it doesn't really matter if I can or cannot sing. But I never be able to play the guitar or other instruments, the piano and all this stuff because of only having one hand, or the way that I learned, and the way I can't learn how to do things with two hands. And people always tell me, "Well, you should be happy that you're alive." And why is that in the case? I would never in my lifetime ever want this anywhere again. If I had a choice to just be done with this, I would be done with this in a heartbeat. But the suffering of dying is actually crucial with people who do that to themselves. So you have to understand that you can't just do it and then not feel pain. Okay. If you're going to do something like that, that's going to cause pain. And that's why people don't commit that type of, 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 of ending. And the reason why I'm not using that word, because I don't want to be um, uh, uh, edited out on YouTube or the Patreon or anywhere on any platform, because I really hate my life. I just cannot stand it. Like I don't have anything to to hold a trophy to. When people get married, have kids, they have kids. They get married, they have grandkids someday. People like me who are with disability, we don't have that type of lifestyle. We don't get to change. We don't get to choose that lifestyle. And some people are like, well, I'm disabled, I'm married, blah, blah, blah. But that worked for you. That doesn't work for everyone else. And some people are like, well, it's your attitude. Well, maybe it is my attitude, but I don't want a girl to feel sorry for me to be with me. That's my number one pet peeve. And a lot of people are like, why not? You can get all the kind of game you can get, right? It's called respect, right? Like you have to understand that in today's society, most men are not really men. They're kind of cowards. They don't work. They don't keep their jobs because they have two good hands and a brain, and they don't have a job. I can't figure that out. I got at least two friends of mine who are just like that. They got two hands, high school. One's got a high school diploma. One worked at with his dad at a warehouse, um, greenhouse atmosphere. He said he was too old to do that job. I think he was just too out of shape. My other friend, he's got issues with his own mental state of mind, which he's got a college degree. He could have a job. He could keep the job. He could go up to the ladder. He could do whatever he wants to do, but he chooses to live with a woman who is supported by her ex-husband, and he sits around the house all day, which I don't understand that either. And today, this is today's society. This is what men today do. And then the joke is, people like me should be happy to be alive. This is not a fun life. This is not a fun life. I don't like when my siblings tell me that I should go to church and go be a Jesus book humper. That's not going to fix my problem. It's delusional. Okay. I don't I don't see that in a good light at all. It's really deceptive, and it's very uh dishonest to say. Because if you start to just be too spiritual, you'll just be a hippie smoking a lot of weed and drinking a lot of beer and like, oh, Jesus is going to fix my problems and just keep smoking more weed. Oh, I'm just going to sit here and look at the sun and live in my apartment and look out. That doesn't work that way. And another thing I don't like doing, I don't like being with any girl that I'm not attracted to. I don't like girls who are just out of shape and smell. It's not really pleasing to me at all. I just don't like that. People are like, well, it's about love. Well, you have to be first attracted to somebody first before you get to that love thing. So when people say to me stuff like, well, you should find a girl with a disability. Why? She doesn't have to like me either. And that's something that most people don't understand. Like most people don't understand that when you're a person born with a disability, you are very limited to anything that you really want to do with your life. You have to kind of do what you're told to do or what your body can and cannot do. And that's it. And someday when I get old, I'm going to be even more resentful. This is not a great life. This is a very long, long, long journey of disappointment. It is what it is. It really is. I mean, sometimes I don't even like to go out drinking because it's boring. Like, I don't drink beer just to get messed up. Some people do. Some people can go drink alcohol and numb it up. Some people can smoke a lot of weed and numb their feelings up. But if I go and have a drink of beer and all that, I do it to socialize with people who are having fun, and that sometimes brings me up in a good mood. And sometimes it makes me really depressed because all those people who are out and about have somebody to talk to. But I don't really have anyone to talk to. I very rarely do I be able to have a conversation with somebody and talk with somebody and socialize with somebody. It's funny that I'll tell you this little story. So I have a friend of mine who just moved to St. Joseph's, and he lost a bet to me, and he owed me a cheap beer, a PBR. So we went to the Anchor Bar on the west side of Grand Rapids on Bridge Street. And I got there a little late. I kind of procrastinated a little bit, but I got there. And there were three women sitting next to him in my chair. And I sat down, and this girl, Rebecca, and Lori and Leah, these three women were talking to my friend, Patrick. And that was the first time in a long time that I had a really like good and fun conversation with a woman with women my age. And it wasn't at work. It wasn't like chit chat at work. It wasn't none of that. It was a very conversation. It was fun. We had a couple of beers. What's funny is like the girl that I had a little crush on was my age. Her name was Leah. From they were from the east side of the state, and I just couldn't help myself thinking about if I wasn't disabled and if I was making money, at least $100,000 a year, I would have loved to have to taken her on a date if she was single or whatever. It just it just it's a bruise that doesn't heal is what it is. That's what disability is. It's a bruise that doesn't heal. And And, I just in the very far from few do I ever have those type of encounters with those type of people and type of situations and women that I feel connected or have a connection with. I had my first connection with a girl in high school. I was way mature, not enough money. Of course, high school, it doesn't ever work out for obvious reasons. Then I am in my mid 20s. I'm hanging out with my buddy V and his wife Tina, and then I end up going to Sensations a lot. And then for some reason, I'm becoming infatuated with a stripper named Victoria. And then I just kind of just really like just chatting with her and hanging out with her. I didn't half the time she didn't even have to take her clothes off. It was just having that person within my own age group or girl, woman next to me and having that common denominator. Okay. Now it didn't involve anything. It didn't become anything. It wasn't even a perverted sexual innuendo moment. It was none of that. Okay. It was none of that. But that was my encounter. And then 7 years later, I'm talking to this lady. Her name is Amy, and we hit it off, and come to find out, she's involved with someone else. But a lot of times, that's kind of what happens. Every 5 to 7 years, I connect with somebody. I connect with a girl within my age group, and then it works out. But it doesn't work out at all. It's kind of like a false hope, false. It's a false uh, reality, is what it is. False reality. These relationships that I have with women are very short, sweet, and they're gone. And there's nothing that I can do to change things because a lot of times those are the type of women who are way up further higher in their, I would say, um, not social class, but maybe experience in life. They just have more than what I can offer them. And it's just weird to think about that. And, I started this podcast so that I could connect with other men who would disable or who are disabled and wanted to talk about what it was like to be disabled and relationships and all that. But it doesn't pan out that way because a lot of people who I talk to are very severely disabled physically or chronically pain or something's going on or they don't ever leave the house and it's very bad for them. And it's not really fun and it's just torturous. And a lot of people say, well, you should be really happy you're not like that. But my point is this when you can't progress, when you can't get to the next level in your thought and feelings, life is very strenuously long and depressing. And I don't even like to use depressing because I'm not really a depressed type of personality. I just move on and move on. And I wish I could just change. If I could change anything about my disability, it was this that if I cannot have a left hand that works, I wish that my brain was better shaped, better with cognitive learning and intelligence and everything else with it, so that I could use things like the computer technology and everything else with it. That's all I really want. I don't need to be the smartest man in the room. I don't even have to be the best looking man in the room. But it's such a weird, I just can't explain it. People are so, I think people get really mad at me because they think I'm just being a jerk. And people are like, well, that's what we hired you for, or that's who you are. Now, people's disability is a artificial personality that we have to adapt to. Our disability is not our characteristics. Our disability is not part of us. It's just not. It's kind of like living in a multi universe world. If I was an able-bodied person, my personality would be totally different. My conversations with women would be totally different. My my job search would be totally different. My progression in life would be totally different. My my relationships with kids I don't have would be obviously different. And those are the things that you kind of miss out. You miss out of going through your teenage years, going on dates, uh, failing on dates, going to college or going to trade school or not going to school at all, and then learning how to work and moving up in management, and then having a relationship with a woman that you're attracted to, not infatuated with, and then to stop infatuating with that girl, you would actually take the girl on a date, and then it turned out to be something that you want to happen. Everything would like fall in place. You would start going on a date. You would end up dating her for a couple of years, maybe 6 months or a year, and then you get married. Now, I'm not here to debate if marriage is good or bad. I'm just saying that's just go along with it. And then along with the way, you get promoted or you don't get promoted, and then you're still married because she actually loves you for you. She doesn't love you because you're disabled. She doesn't love you because you're rich. She loves you for you. Okay. But my point is that that's the things that we miss out. If you're disabled, that's the things that you're gonna miss out. Some guys who are disabled have it, but they're very intelligent. Like their cognitive intelligence is very high. So they can get a computer job or a technology job and make the big bucks. So they can't walk, but they can use the computer, the technology. But for me, it's a different. It's like I'm in between. So that's what we'll miss. That's what I'll miss. Like I missed having teenage years because I went from like say age 8 to 16, and 16 was like I was back to 13. And my parents were very protective and everything else with it. And I was mocked and I was, just not really cognitive. Um, I was not cognitive maturity. My cognitive maturity was not there. Even though I knew what to say, what not to say to girls, or how to be played and all that, that's just trained. That's being trained. But my point of what I'm trying to say is this: is that I'll miss having kids. I'll miss having a spouse. I'll miss having grandkids. I'll go from the age of 13 to like living in my 20s. And I'm not in my 20s no more, but I feel like people think I'm in my 20s. And then I'll go from the age of 25, go through my 40s, looking like I'm still 20 or 30. And then I'll hit 60, and then my life will be over. And then because a lot of times people don't understand this. When you turn like 62 or 60, 65, your body really shuts down. It starts to shut down. It can't fight colds as well or other viruses. Uh, any damage that you've done to your body of drinking alcohol, smoking. I'm a drinker, uh, but I'm not a heavy drinker. I can go with days, weeks without drinking, but years catch up to you when you're in your 20s and your 30s, and then you were not eating the best, drinking the best. And then when you turn 60, 65, that's when your body just really takes a big dip down. So I know that. And that's kind of what's so sad about it. is that I get to live majority of my life like a 20-year-old, but really never accomplishing anything. There's nothing I can accomplish. There's nothing that I can there's nothing. And I'm trying my best to be very positive, but it's not possible because you have to ha- there has to be something happening in your life that is positive so that you feel positive. Do you understand? You can't just say positive things when you wake up in the morning. Today, I'm going to have a good day. Today, my boss is going to give me a raise. Today, I'm going to go and get promoted. That doesn't work. What works is being a hard worker and being a good worker and then moving up the ladder. But with people with disability, we don't get that option. We're people with disability. You should be happy to be having a job. You should be happy that this company hired you to do this job, and you should not complain. That's what being disabled is about. You should be happy that you have a place that you live on your own. You should be happy to breathe air. If you can breathe all the air you want and you don't live one day of your life to the fullest, then what air are you breathing? Think about that. And I tell able-bodied people this all the time. I tell just I tell 18-year-olds this all the time. There's 18-year-old kids that work in this at this grocery store, and he was briefly talking to me about doing heating and cooling for a company in Allegan or Ada. And I said to him, why would you why would you keep working here at the grocery store getting paid 14, $15 an hour when you can get trained to do something that you can get paid $60,000 a year? And then you can progress your life. And then you can talk about getting married to your girlfriend and moving up the ladder. And he's a smart kid. And I told him, you could do that. You could learn how to do that. And then you could go back to school when you're getting sick of cleaning or doing industrial plumbing or like electrician and stuff like that. And that's something that you just, a lot of people don't, a lot of people take it for granted that they could do something that could make their life a lot better. And I just, that's something that I'll miss in my life that I had to go. If my goal was to play the guitar and failed, then I would go to my next dream. My next dream would be what? To be a businessman, own my own business, or start my own sporting store. You're like, that's stupid. That might be stupid, but it'd be my dream. So if I fail that dream, then I would fail. But the thing is, if you fail at your dream and then you do something that you don't really like to do, but you're getting paid to do, and then you get promoted, that's life. Not all of us can live their dream. Not all of us can be a musician, and not all of us can be an athlete. But if I was, if I knew I couldn't hit a 95 hour baseball or hit a baseball, what would I do? Maybe I go to school for broadcasting or analytics or stuff like that, or just things in sports. But the point is that if you're able to chase your dream. I mean, if you fail at your dream, then accept it and then move on to what you're good at. If you're good at math, you're good at science, you're understanding uh, financial stuff, you're good understanding, I wouldn't say the Wall Street because that's a hit and miss. But if you're good at finances or you're good at helping people or you're good at with medicine, then I would tell people, I would tell my own kids that. I would tell my daughters that. Oh, you want to be a softball player? Or you want to be a doctor? And if she wasn't good at playing softball or being good at sports, then maybe she's good at music. And if she's not good at music, then she'll find something she's good at art or whatever she was good at. I would push her that direction. And that's what I tell. I mean, I just don't understand why people waste their time. I just don't understand. I hate working at this grocery store. I can't stand the manager that I'm working with because this person can't do things without another manager there present to actually get things done. I don't understand why she's a supervisor, you know? Just can't. I can't wrap my brain around it. I just I don't I think people just are so I think people are dumb is what I think. When I mean dumb, I don't mean like they're like intelligent dumb, but they're common sense stupid is what it is. It's like you work at your job and then you're not thinking about what you're doing at your job is a problem. But my problem in my job is that I have to control my anger. Oh, I get so mad. I get so mad at work. I got to clean these machines out. There's pop and soda and water and saliva and all this stuff on these machines. I got to clean it. Disgusting. And that's what my life is about right now. Cleaning disgusting things is horrifying. But you know what? Why am I doing this? You know why? Because I'm disabled. I just I don't understand why people do what they do. I don't. Just mind boggles me. I basically ragged on about 32 minutes of this. And I think that people really need to like relook at their lives. I really do. I don't I don't know why you're able-bodied people are like able-bodied stupid is what I'm gonna call it. You guys could do so much on your time. You could learn anything you want to. You could move anywhere you want to go, and you don't. And you know what I have to do? I have to be stuck here, stuck in the same place. And I love Grand Rapids, I really do. But I can't keep going at Founders every day. I love their beer, but it's not fun. I don't like to drink to get completely belligerent, is my point. I like to drink to socialize and keeps the laughs coming, but it's very boring to drink by yourself. And sometimes that's what I do at bars. It's pretty weird, pretty sad, sick. Ugh. All right, folks, I gotta go. I hope you get something out of this. I really do. I don't know what you're gonna get out of this. It just sounds like me ranting about me being disabled, I guess. So follow me if you like this episode. I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of feeds back from this, to be honest with you. But I had to throw this on my chest, out of my chest. So peace, love. Find me on YouTube, Patreon, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts or anywhere you download your podcasts. All right, I'm out. Peace.